Yes! 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 In honor of the Royal Rumble being this Sunday, I thought I'd do something a little bit differently today. I want to do a crossover, if you will. All wrestling is, in fact, very, very scripted, which technically makes them actors. Now, wrestlers may not be the greatest actors in the world. This is no secret. Some of them have left an indelible impression that you may not have even realized that the actors portraying them were, in fact, wrestlers. So, without further ado, we'll start with one of the most well-known wrestlers turned actors of the day. The Rock. Can you smell what The Rock is acting in this year? And if it's any indication of years past, it'll be like 3 or 4 movies. The Rock was one of the most popular wrestlers of all time, and right now he's one of the biggest names in Hollywood, being in the Fast and Furious franchise, the G.I. Joe franchise, which I'm still debating if that's actually a good thing or a bad thing, and numerous other individual projects. He's also dipped his toes into comedies, with movies like The Rundown and Get Smart, which also leads me into my next wrestler, the Great Khali. Now, the Great Khali was also in Get Smart with The Rock. The Great Khali played Easter Island Head. Well, I don't actually know what that guy's name is, but I just remember that's what Steve Carell described him as. He was that big dude that Steve Carell was able to talk him down because he knew how to speak that language. That is actually a wrestler. The Great Khali was a giant. I believe he's like 6'11" or 7 foot, and he was every sense of the word giant. He was massive. However, the Great Khali is not the only giant to have graced the big screen, and to have left an indelible mark on pop culture. There's by far a more famous giant. Actually, his name is Giant. Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was in that little-known movie that nobody really has seen, The Princess Bride. Yeah, he's that guy. He's a wrestler. But I mean, look at him. The dude looks like he was just made to be a wrestler. He's got that build. If not in the WWE, probably sumo wrestling, let's be perfectly honest. Now, there's one man, one incredible Hulk, if you will, that had a very famous feud with Andre the Giant, and was actually once able to lift the 500-pound plus man and slam him to the ground. The most famous wrestler in history, Hulk Hogan. Now, Hogan has tried acting a lot, but his most famous roles have come in Rocky III, when he had a charity event against Sylvester Stallone's Rocky character, which really was kind of bizarre to watch. And he was in Gremlins 2 as a nice fourth wall break and yelling at the audience for some reason. And he had a lot of other movies, but in order to savor the memory of Hulk Hogan, let's not go down that road, as they are horrendous. But the Hulkster is not the only wrestler to go to another form of the ring on the big screen. Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle has actually been in a movie. Kurt Angle was in the 2011 film Warrior as the great and feared Cobra, the undefeated UFC champion. He was kind of an antagonist, but not really. He was just kind of there, but oh, was he physical. He was the UFC champion of Russia that faced off against the movie's hero, Brennan. Now, moving on from Cobra to Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold Steve Austin was one of the most electrifying wrestlers of all time, and led the charge in what was known as the Attitude Era. But Stone Cold is not immune to bad acting. He starred in the cult classic, if you really want to call it that. It has a certain following. The Condemned, which basically has 10 criminals on an island, and they're trying to kill each other, and the winner gets freedom, I believe. He also appeared in the macho movie The Expendables, where the final fight has him squaring off against the previously mentioned Sylvester Stallone. Do you think Sylvester Stallone wanted to be in wrestling but got turned down for being too good of an actor? Nah, I didn't think so either. Yes, he was in The Expendables as a villain. The Expendables, the ultra macho movie. Now, why do I say macho? Ooh, yeah! Macho Man Randy Savage. Now, you're thinking, who's Macho Man Randy Savage? I can guarantee you've seen the dude in a movie. Do you remember way back? Step into your time machine and go way back with me, if you will. Okay, you in the past now? Remember the original Spider-Man trilogy before the Andrew Garfield movies? The very first Spider-Man movie, he was the wrestler that Peter Parker faced off in the ring when he was first discovering his powers. Bonesaw! He was a very, very famous wrestler who in fact actually was inducted in the Hall of Fame this year. And finally, wrestlers are still in movies today, with one being in a movie that I can personally guarantee that you saw this summer. Guardians of the Galaxy's Drax was played by former WWE superstar Dave Batista. I personally love Drax in this movie. I was not expecting much because wrestlers, as we've seen from this list, don't really make the best big screen actors. Batista really left a great impression. Before this movie, no one knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. And before this movie, no one outside of wrestling knew who Batista was. But now, people know who both are. I do hope to see his acting skills improve. In fact, he will be in the next James Bond film that's coming out later this year. I think it's Christmas time. You can fact check me on that after this video is done. Well, what do you guys think? Is there any wrestlers that you know of in movies that you think I missed here? Who do you think will win the Royal Rumble this year? Yes, yes, yes. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and you want to see more, go to facebook.com/movieguy17 or Twitter at nmovieguy17. Don't forget to subscribe. So what you gonna do, brother, is stay sharp, movie guys and gals.